Tonight on Pulse 24 News, a warship lurking off the coast of Denmark, secret diplomatic moves that could shift the balance of power, and a Russian island seized by an unexpected force.
This is not your typical geopolitical update. This is a story where military power, technological ambition, and raw nature collide, revealing a world that's changing faster than governments can control. From missile negotiations behind closed doors to a mysterious naval presence in European waters, and even polar bears taking over abandoned territory, this is the new front line of power struggles in 2025.
Stay with us.
In a confidential meeting on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with Donald Trump. These closed-door sessions, away from the public glare, are often where the most sensitive diplomacy unfolds. It was here that, according to reports from The Telegraph, Zelensky made a request that could fundamentally alter the strategic landscape of Eastern Europe: Tomahawk cruise missiles. The Tomahawk is a long-range subsonic cruise missile with a range of over 1,500 kilometers, capable of high-precision strikes deep within enemy territory. Providing such a system would be a monumental step, navigating a complex web of export controls like the Missile Technology Control Regime, which aims to limit the spread of long-range missile technology. But according to the reports, Zelensky's rationale was not to launch an immediate attack. Instead, his goal was to dramatically increase psychological and strategic pressure on Vladimir Putin. The Ukrainian argument is a classic application of deterrence theory. By possessing a credible threat to hold Russian strategic assets at risk, Kiev believes it could force Moscow to divert significant resources to air defense, straining its military. Zelensky reportedly told the former president, "We need them, but we won't necessarily use them." Their presence alone would push Putin to negotiate. Sources describe the meeting as highly positive. Within the Trump administration, key figures like Secretary of State Marco Rubio are reportedly framing the proposal not as an escalation, but as a strategic rebalancing, arming for peace to give Ukraine leverage. However, the reaction from Brussels has been far more cautious. One senior EU defense official, speaking anonymously, told Pulse 24 that introducing Tomahawks could shatter the carefully managed ladder of escalation and provoke an unpredictable response from Moscow. This anxiety is echoed by non-proliferation experts. They warn that bypassing the spirit of the MTCR for Ukraine could set a dangerous precedent, encouraging other nations to demand similar advanced strike capabilities and fueling regional arms races. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Trump himself hinted he's close to a deal to end the Gaza conflict. Entertaining the Tomahawk request serves a dual purpose for him. It projects an image of strength and decisiveness, while reinforcing his brand as the ultimate deal-maker who isn't afraid to use powerful leverage to bring adversaries to the table, whether in Kiev or the Middle East. While political leaders strategize over territory and treaties, another, quieter power struggle is emerging: the battle for technological dominance. This new global competition isn't just about having the best gadgets, it's about controlling the fundamental building blocks of the 21st century, advanced semiconductors, and, most critically, artificial intelligence. At a recent United Nations assembly, this tension was laid bare. Belarusian Foreign Minister Sergei Renkov issued a stark warning about the double-edged sword of artificial intelligence. On one hand, he noted, AI holds the promise to heal, feed, and connect humanity. But on the other, he cautioned, the same technology is a potent weapon. This is the core of the dual-use dilemma. An algorithm designed for medical diagnosis can be retrained for military targeting. An AI that optimizes a city's power grid could also be used to cripple it. Renkov warned that without global guardrails, we risk a future where autonomous algorithms, not humans, could one day decide who lives and who dies. In response to these risks, and to secure a strategic edge, Western nations are accused of erecting what many now call a silicon curtain. Unlike the ideological Iron Curtain of the Cold War, this barrier is technological, designed to secure military and economic supremacy by controlling AI development and access. This isn't just rhetoric. It's being enforced through concrete policy. The United States has placed strict export controls on advanced semiconductor chips, like NVIDIA's powerful H100 GPUs, which are essential for training large AI models. Access to the sophisticated machinery needed to manufacture these chips is also heavily restricted. The result is a deliberate choke point, a digital divide meant to slow the progress of rivals. From Moscow, the official response has been a mix of public dismissal and private urgency. In the State Duma, Speaker Vyacheslav Volodin publicly mocked the idea of AI replacing humans, insisting that technology could never supplant intuition and spirit. He famously declared, "Robots cannot replace consciousness." But behind this bravado, Russia is accelerating its own national strategy for AI. Facing the Western tech embargo, Moscow is pouring resources into creating a sovereign technological ecosystem, from domestic chip designs to its own large language models. The aim is to achieve self-sufficiency and break free from the constraints of the Silicon Curtain. The dismissive statements and the frantic development efforts all point to the same fundamental truth shared by all major powers in this new era. Control over the code, the chips, and the data is now synonymous with control over global power and destiny. In the strategic waters of the Kattegat Strait, a vital choke point connecting the North Sea to the Baltic, a scene unfolded that felt scripted for a modern spy thriller. A Russian landing ship, the Rapucha-class Alexander Shabalin, was spotted operating just 12 kilometers off Denmark's coast, well within its exclusive economic zone, but provocatively close to its territorial waters. The vessel's presence alone wasn't unusual, but its behavior was. After maritime authorities noted its erratic, slow-moving pattern, investigative reporters from a Nordic media consortium chartered a helicopter to get a closer look. What they documented was alarming. First, the ship had gone dark. Its automatic identification system, or AIS transponder, was switched off. Under international maritime safety conventions, most large vessels are required to broadcast their identity and position to prevent collisions, while warships have exemptions. Deliberately deactivating the system in such a high-traffic area is a significant act. It renders the vessel a ghost on public tracking systems, a clear choice to mask its movements. As the helicopter circled, a tense cat-and-mouse game played out. On the deck of the Shabalin, uniformed personnel were clearly visible, not attempting to hide, but instead turning their own cameras and smartphones towards the journalists. It was a clear act of counter-surveillance, a message that they knew they were being watched, and were watching back. For 3 consecutive days, the warship loitered in a specific corridor near the Great Belt Bridge, a critical piece of Danish infrastructure. It then began a slow journey northeast, its ultimate destination undeclared. This prolonged, ambiguous presence so close to NATO territory raised immediate questions about its mission. The plot thickened when, during the same period, mysterious drone sightings were reported over sensitive sites, including Aalborg Airport and key naval bases. The timing was too coincidental for many analysts. This is where the theory of hybrid warfare comes into focus. Security experts suggest the Shabalin may have been acting as a mothership, a mobile command center for a fleet of unmanned aerial vehicles. A large landing ship has the deck space and power to launch and coordinate drones for surveillance, allowing a state to gather intelligence and probe defenses with plausible deniability. When questioned, the Danish Ministry of Defense confirmed it was aware of the vessel and was monitoring its activity, but offered no further comment. This reserved response is typical, as publicizing details could reveal a nation's own surveillance capabilities. But for observers across the region, the incident is a stark illustration of a new reality. The message isn't just that Northern Europe is being watched. It's that its critical infrastructure and response times are being actively tested in a gray zone of conflict, far from any declared battlefield. Meanwhile, in Eastern Europe, Moldova braces for potential unrest ahead of crucial elections. Local security forces detained 74 individuals accused of planning violent protests if pro-Russian forces lose. Investigations revealed many suspects were trained in Serbia. They were allegedly recruited by Russian GRU agents. Their mission: disrupt, destabilize, and provoke chaos. Moldovan President Maia Sandu didn't mince words. Moscow wants to undermine Moldova's independence and block its path to the EU. The Kremlin's hybrid tactics, part intelligence, part subversion, echo similar strategies seen in Ukraine and Georgia. And now, the most unexpected occupation of them all. On the abandoned island of Kalochin in the Russian Arctic, a family of polar bears has taken over a former Soviet weather station. No flags, no armies, no speeches. Just nature reclaiming what humans left behind. The bears built shelters, roamed the hallways, and used the site as their permanent home. Their silent occupation sends a powerful message. When human ambition fades, nature fills the void. Across Siberia, entire towns are being slowly swallowed by forests. Concrete gives way to trees. Factories become nesting grounds for birds. The contrast couldn't be sharper. While politicians debate grand nuclear projects, the natural world quietly wins back territory. From secret weapons deals and AI power plays to shadowy ships and wild polar bears, these stories might seem unrelated. But together, they reveal a truth. Power is shifting on multiple fronts simultaneously. Some nations build walls of technology, others flex military muscles. But nature, indifferent to treaties and politics, claims the last word. So the question remains, who truly controls the future? Are the leaders drafting blueprints for dominance, or the forces quietly reshaping the world while no one watches?
For Pulse 24 News, I'm Sheila. If you found this report insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring clarity to a world full of noise. Also, leave your comments below, and thanks for watching. See you, Sonny.